Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this Misuse of Drugs Amendment Bill and thank the Associate Minister of Health, the Honourable Peter Dunn, for bringing it to the House. This is a sensible piece of legislation. It's designed as a response to public concerns about the harm of drugs and, in particular, P in our communities. P is a very New Zealand problem, as we have one of the highest percentages of P users in the world. This legislation is a first step in closing the sources of precursor substances for the illegal manufacture of methamphetamine. We know that the ingredients for many of manufacture of P come from both the reconstitution of legal over-the-counter cold and flu drugs and from the direct importers of pseudoephedrine. This bill reclassifies ephedrine and pseudoephedrine as a Class B2 controlled drug, so that it is only available on prescription, and that will make it much more difficult to obtain over the counter and therefore much more difficult for P cooks to get ingredients. Right now, our police tell us that local pseudoephedrine is found in 1/3 of all P labs. There's been a lot of debate in the community about the loss of these over-the-counter cold and flu drugs. And I've even heard of some families stocking up on these remedies because they can't live without them. But research tells us, and indeed Professor Gluckman, the Prime Minister's chief scientist, concurs, that there is clinical evidence that shows that there are safe and effective alternatives available. But generally speaking, the public support this legislation because it will greatly reduce the availability of source drugs. At the same time, New Zealand customs officers are working hard to close the door on imports of pseudoephedrine from overseas. They are focusing on tightening border controls and are making it much more difficult for P labs to get imported source ingredients. It's true that many New Zealanders are in the grip of P. This legislation will make it more difficult to obtain this drug, and therefore I support this bill to the House.
The Honourable Damien O'Connor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.